Time for me to do another reaction video asked by Brandon to do a reaction video on the same person we did before, the Democracy, but this time doing ranking the Dark Souls bosses from easiest to hardest, 1 through 26. I don't know how this is gonna go. We've done a couple bosses so far. I feel like we're getting a little bit farther into the game. Whether or not I'm doing better or worse is for your guys' call, and we're just gonna hop right in. Here we go.
Hey everybody, my name's Democracy, and I want to welcome you back to our series ranking the Soulsborne boss difficulty. We've finally come to, I'd say, probably the consensus fan favorite in the series, Dark Souls. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to the Anarlondo Archers. It's not a boss fight, but I bet more players have lost souls to these assholes than many of the bosses in the game. Now without further ado, let's jump into number 26. And we're kicking things off with the butt of most Dark Souls jokes, Pinwheel. I mean, what is there to even say about this guy? Normally I'd go on about different mechanics and why this particular fight is so easy, but it really boils down to one simple thing. This guy will be dead in about 10 seconds, so whatever would happen is completely irrelevant. This is one of those fights like Covetous Demon or True King a lot where you have to actively try to be killed if you actually want to lose. I guess he's more of a challenge if you head there very early in your playthrough, but why suffer the horrors of the catacombs at a low level? No doubt in my mind that this is one of the easiest, if not the easiest boss in the entire series.
Okay. What the? Oh, it's OP
the
boss.
In Dark Souls is more
it's
of a
OP
learning tool on how to
boss.
fight bosses rather than an actual boss himself.
Hi, OP
He's got
boss.
heavily telegraphed windups and not a lot of health. Even further, if you picked firebombs as your gift, you can just chuck them for the win. Still, even though this boss is a joke for veterans of the series, I'm sure many of us remember the first time we faced this monster and got smashed by that great hammer again and again.
Yep.
I feel like this is a good time to point out the parallels to Demon Souls bosses. I intentionally did that video first so you'd have a chance to see some similarities in this video. Pinwheel was very much like the Fool's Idol, and the Asylum Demon is very similar to Vanguard, the tutorial boss in Demon Souls. So for some fun, throughout the rest of the video, you should see what similarities you can spot and let us know in the comments.
Well, hopefully, Moonlight Butterfly? Okay.
This fight is a load of shit for melee fighters. Yeah, we're starting off like that. This stupid butterfly is just content to float out of your reach while spamming a variety of different spells. It can be considered good or bad that they're mostly easy to dodge, but I'd argue it makes the fight even more boring. Eventually she comes in to, let you hit her? I mean, yeah, what the hell else do you call this? Maybe she's taking a breather after exhausting every damn spell in her arsenal. She ends her rest with an AoE attack, and I was so annoyed by the length I had to wait to get her down that second time, I went for the YOLO kill and luckily came out victorious.
Oh, great. Oh, the one I died.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This may be the boss I have the least to say about in the entire series. It's just so bland. There's really nothing special to say about him other than the cool bridged arena you fight in that allows for drop attacks. But if you picked up the Gold Pine Resin in Undead Burg, it's a pretty quick kill regardless. So I'll just finish this by kicking this pushover in the knob.
I get it. I died. Okay? It took me hours. And I'm not talking about 1 hour. I'm not talking about 2 hours. But probably 3 hours to defeat the Taurus demon. My pain and suffering rests with that demon. Dead.
Ards.
Oh, great.
Alright, I think we're all mature here, so I think you all know what I mean when I say this boss looks like a gigantic tooth-ridden. With that out of the way, let's talk about the fight. Mostly you want to stay toward the back left of the beast. I found that it seems to do the annoying tail swipe the least when you're in that position. Though what you really want is for it to fall forward because this allows you to get some hits in on the head. The only thing to really watch out for is the walking attack. If you get caught in this crossfire, you are as good as dead. Overall, a relatively easy boss if you can avoid its hard hits.
Ceaseless discharge.
If our last boss had a disgusting appearance, this guy has got to have one of the nastiest boss names ever. Ceaseless Discharge? Let's assess that by definition. FromSoft named this guy Unending Relief of Load. That's right, this guy is gonna relieve his load all over you. That is fucking disgusting. And the worst part is, the only way to fight this guy with melee is to bait that load. So you better be ready to receive it, otherwise prepare to be overwhelmed by the size of it. I'm sorry, I just can't take this guy seriously. Consider this a great introduction to the wondrous underbelly of Dark.
So I've been seeing so far that a lot of these bosses say if you choose a close range battle strategy, you're gonna lose. Great.
Dark Souls and the horrible bosses within. There's only one thing standing between two of the best areas in Dark Souls, and that's this lumbering giant. The strategy here is very simple. You gotta knock him down by nipping at the heels. This is easier than it may seem because once you do enough damage, he starts wobbling around like a toddler. Oh, he's gonna fall! Are you serious? What the hell was that? But yeah, you can knock him off. Unfortunately, that goes both ways, so the only serious difficulty of this fight is watching your own footing. This can easily be used to your advantage, however, letting you send this golem tumbling to his doom. What's a cool way to tie up one of the best areas in Soulsborne? With one of the more interesting bosses in the series. This fight is unique in that you'll spend most of your time fighting an invisible boss. What's really neat is how FromSoft balanced it. You can actually see Priscilla's footsteps in the snow, allowing you to pinpoint her location. So while this fight definitely isn't tops in terms of difficulty, it definitely deserves a lot of praise for creativity.
Okay, the demon.
I did say the underbelly of Lordran has some fantastic bosses, did I not? And what's better than a flaming reskin of one of the game's easiest bosses? I wish I had some meaningful commentary, but how about this? I'll save you the time watching me fight this reskin like FromSoft could have saved yours by not reskinning bosses to pad the damn game.
Dark Sun Gwyn. I wonder about that boss.
Like Priscilla, this is another fight that is pretty unique. However, I'd say this is an example of how being unique isn't necessarily a good thing. This fight ends up being more of a waiting game than anything else, similar to the Moonlight Butterfly. Gwendolyn has a few different attacks, but you really just have to wait for the arrows. Once he pulls out the bow, you're safe to quickly strafe your way up to him. After a few hits, he'll teleport back and you repeat the process. So while it's cool that this is something very different from any other boss in the series, I can't really say that it's a fight I personally enjoy.
Jeez.
Now this is a fight that's kind of the polar opposite to Gwendolyn. I don't really think that it's very innovative in terms of mechanics. In fact, after you destroy this thing and can damage Seat, the fight is mostly about getting a few hits in, running away to dodge the crystals, and repeating. But even though there isn't much to the fight, there's just something about it I enjoy. Maybe it's the lore behind the fight and the amazing area that precedes it, but I just enjoy beating up this crystal dragon. And now we're back in boss hell. This fight is seriously just bullshit. In the same vein as the Moonlight Butterfly, this demon has a tendency to keep his distance and take potshots at you. The difference here is when he gets close, the punishment does not stop. That and the area you have to safely fight is extremely tiny considering the size of the damn thing. Once you've got him close, you just have to dodge his attacks and punish, but with the aforementioned limited space, this can be quite a challenge. I should mention that I'm using a texture mod for the lava, but if I wasn't, that damn glow would have made this fight even worse, so I highly recommend that mod for PC players.
Oh, number 14.
If there was a "the true Dark Souls starts here" message, this is probably where it should be placed. Sure, there's some challenging traps and enemy setups on the way here, but the two bosses on the way are pretty pathetic. Not the gargoyles, however. For the early game, they do quite a bit of damage to you. It's also not the easiest arena to battle in terms of the slopes and ledges. Once you get down the dodge timing though, the first gargoyle can be handled pretty well, but things get a lot more complicated when the second drops in. My advice for these type of gang fights is always pretty similar. Move around a lot to get nice attack windows, and if at all possible, kill the first when the second one comes in. No matter what though, there's no doubt in my mind that many first-time players hit their first true wall at this boss.
Oh, hey, look, it's the Stray Demon.
Now you can probably see why my opinion was so strong on the Demon Fire Sage. That boss was a freaking reskin of a reskin. So with the triple dipping, I'm sure you can know what to expect from this fight. In fact, it's basically the same as the Asylum Demon with some added AoE follow-ups. Those follow-ups hit seriously hard though, so I'd recommend making your return to the Asylum around the halfway point of the game to make it a bit easier. Get your tissue boxes ready, everyone, because this is a sad one. First of all, nobody ever likes seeing the dog die. Then you can imagine how we all must feel knowing we've got to be the ones to do it. Stack that on top of the fact you can meet him as a puppy wolf in the DLC and he'll actually help you out. It's just an overall shit feeling. So how's the fight? It reminds me a lot of something you might see early in Bloodborne, so the same general strategies apply here. Dodge to get under him and then unleash the fury. I found Sif's moves pretty easy to dodge as long as you stay in close. Once you get him down to minimal health, you get a final gut punch of him limping towards you. Just get in there and end it quick. This is a fight I really don't know what to make of. At first I felt like I was going to be screwed because there were skellies all over the damn place, not to mention the boss himself. But just when I was getting too overwhelmed, Nito used an AoE attack and killed all of them for me. They do eventually resurrect, but I found that if I stayed close to Nito, he would just keep spamming this attack. It takes a while to charge up though, so you have plenty of time to heal and get some hits in. Maybe I just got good RNG, but if you're struggling here, I totally recommend just sticking to him like glue for the duration of the fight. Then just budget your heals and hits, and you should be able to down Nito in no time.
Oh my goodness.
Oh god, it's another ugly. Hello. This is another fight where I really benefited from my experience in Bloodborne. The first time I faced Quelaag, I unwisely tried to battle her from the front. This time around, I just stuck myself like a sticker to her right side. From there, I really didn't have much of an issue. She can't hit you with her sword, the spider struggles to do much of anything, and if the lava attacks are used, you're already in a great position to get a ton of hits in. Using this strategy, this was actually one of the easier fights in the run for me, but I can definitely see her ranking here because I struggled greatly with this fight my first time around.
Okay.
In the epic conclusion to Dark Souls, you'll face off against the legendary Lord of Cinder. Your experience with this fight will vary heavily based on one thing, whether or not you can parry Gwyn. If you get the timing down, this fight can be extremely easy. As a disclaimer of the footage you're watching, I could not parry him. I've always been terrible at shield parrying, and I opt to two-hand my weapons instead. Doing this was pretty intimidating since my first time around I beat Gwyn in one go with the help of Solaire. But this time I took him on mano-a-mano with my own Blade of Flame, and it was quite an epic duel. Gwyn is very aggressive and super difficult to dodge. This reminded me a lot of my experience with Alant. I spent as much time trying to get a healing window in this fight as I did actually duking it out. But eventually I did start to get my dodges down a little better. Still, this is a fight I've far from mastered, and I'll happily come back for more practice since it's undoubtedly one of my favorites.
Jesus.
And so our first DLC boss clocks in at number 8. That means
It seems that I am going to just be having more hard times. I feel the pain watching. No.
half of the top 8 is comprised of DLC bosses, further proof that the Soulsborne DLC is the cream of the difficulty crop. I actually found this fight pretty damn difficult too. I was not so great at dodging the lightning attacks from a distance, and I was...
Oh, no. You're not so great. Think of what I have to deal with. Thank God I won't be fighting this guy, but... My God. Fuck you.
Wait, Zach, so you're not gonna fight him?
No.
He's DLC.
Yeah.
I have the DLC.
We're not fighting fucking DLC,
We're
motherfucker.
playing DLC. It comes with the game.
fuck. Well, guys, I'm fucked. Take that as you will, but I'm not gonna be having a good time.
Nearly as poor at dodging the tail up close. The worst part was I got poisoned by it and I did not have any purple moss ready, so I had to duke it out with the line while continuously finding windows to heal. Not to mention this dude kept flying away from me, dragging this fight out for a long time. Still, the persistence and patience always pays off in these games, and that definitely saved my ass here.
Copper Demon?
Oh, that's the next boss you're facing.
Even after all the experience I've gained, I still suck at fighting the Capra Demon. Let's go through all the issues here. First, you're attacked nearly the moment you enter the fog gate by not only the boss, but 2 freaking dogs. Second, this room is tiny, and way too tiny to be fighting 3 fast enemies. Third, 1 and 2 make this fight bullshit. Seriously, this feels like difficulty in all the wrong ways. Rather than creating a boss with complex mechanics and moves, you just toss 3 aggressive enemies in a tiny area and said fuck it. Don't get me wrong, I love the difficulty of these games. It's one of the biggest draws of Soulsborne, but there are a few moments in the series where the game stops being a fair challenge and is just stupid mechanics to piss the player off. This is definitely one of those.
Stupid mechanics to piss the players off. There's too many.
And easily one of my personal least favorite fights in the series.
Oh, great. And I'm on that next. Great. Yay.
But as if the list wanted to outdo itself in terms of terrible bosses, we've got the bed of bullshit here to remind us how bad it can
The bed of bullshit. Sounds good to me.
really get.
I'm on the bed
Let's
of
just get
bullshit
right into
right
why
now.
this fight sucks. Lore-wise, this is supposed to be what remains of the Witch of Izalith. The other Lord Souls brought us memorable fights like Gwyn and Nito, but here we get to fight what looks like some sort of stupid tree wizard. But I guess the word fight isn't correct, because this isn't a fight against an enemy. No, this is a platforming battle. Oh, you didn't think we were playing Mario? Well, too fucking bad. As you destroy the 2 side whatevers, the floor starts falling out under you. Not only that, but the boss uses its branch arms to sweep you right on in. Then once you get both, you gotta make a leap of faith to the boss. Thank God I made it. Are you kidding me? The only redeeming fact.
How many times am I gonna go through this boss fight? Because you gotta dodge the platforms, dodge the fucking things, and then after all that, you take a leap of faith. Well, guess what? I don't have that. Nope.
Factor is that once you break one of those side things, it stays broken when you re-enter the fight. But that does not excuse the fact that it takes forever to get back to the damn thing.
You don't have
And then
faith.
once you finally
Okay. Well, I guess that makes it easier since you don't have to continuously break it after you die. Well, that's good.
make it to the core of the Great Oak, all that's there to greet you is a bug that dies in 1 hit. Amazing.
Amazing. Perfect. 10 out of 10. Best boss ever.
Welcome to the official Dark Souls DPS test. If your damage output is at a level that you can down a king quickly, this fight won't really live up to this ranking. But if you struggle to output damage like I did, this fight will live up to the number 5 billing and maybe even more. Once the fight begins, 1 king will appear. After some time passes, another king will appear whether you've killed the first one or not. So this is a fight where you must be as aggressive as possible. This is easier said than done though, because the kings have some difficult to dodge attacks, like this AoE blast I got caught by more than once. The 4 kings were the 13th boss I faced in my run, and my damage definitely felt low. I would seriously recommend waiting until late in your playthrough to take them on, unless you're looking for a serious challenge.
Oh, great. A black dragon column.
This is a dragon fight done right. For all the times dragons have appeared throughout the series, never has it felt so well balanced and thrilling as the Calamite fight. Of course, it's also pretty damn hard. For such a large foe, Calamite is surprisingly nimble. There were a lot of times where I was simply taken aback by how quickly Calamite would follow up certain attacks. Add that to the fact that Calamite hits as hard as any boss in the game, and you've got a serious recipe for danger. My strategy is the same as it normally is for big bosses: get under them and hack away. But the speed of Calamite makes this incredibly difficult to pull off consistently. Even worse, if you get greedy with your hits, you'll likely get whacked with a follow-up. So play it safe with only 1 or 2 hits and then get ready to dodge. Just keep your cool and you'll eventually be able to slay the dragon.
I'd be slaying the dragon with your cool in the heart. Oh.
One of the most epic fights in the series is also undoubtedly one of the hardest. Without question, this was the fight I personally struggled the most with in this run. Artorias has a completely erratic yet very deliberate and calculated moveset that I found extremely difficult to pin down. He's lightning fast as well, making it nearly impossible to get off more than one hit at a time without being punished. He also has a habit of buffing himself very quickly into the fight, allowing him to output insane amounts of damage. There were even times where he could actually kill me in a single quick combo. Overcoming Artorias requires an intense study of his tells and perfect balance between aggression and patience. Like the fights with Ludwig and Fume Knight, there's just a grandiose feeling to this encounter. All of those fights involve battles with warriors who have fallen from grace and feel not as if your opponent holds any malice towards you, but is defending what little shred of honor they can still hold on to. That type of atmosphere is what makes this, without question, one of the most memorable boss fights not only in Soulsborne, but in all of gaming.
Dragon Slayer, Augustine, and Executioner Simon.
Speaking of boss fights that have a reserved spot in
great.
history, our
Two
second to last boss
bosses.
is appropriately the famous duo that likely caused more players to quit a game halfway through than maybe any game in history. If you want an example of a gang boss done right, this is it. I'm not sure if FromSoft just captured lightning in a bottle, but whereas most gang bosses feel somewhat lazy and kind of unfair, this fight is the exact opposite. Ornstein and Smo are perfect complements to one another. Ornstein is a smaller, more agile lightning warrior that will put unrelenting pressure on you. In contrast, Smo is bulky and slow, and more of a strength warrior that isn't likely to win any races, but will absolutely punish you if you don't stay on your toes. To defeat them, I use my tried and true method of running away constantly and taking hits in the small windows you're offered. Even with that, it was still ridiculously difficult. It took me nearly 6 minutes and most of my Estus to just down Ornstein. Once you narrow it down to one, however, it does become a bit easier. Of course, you'll have to deal with a souped up version of one of them, which brings its own set of challenges. I think in gaming we'll always have respect for a fair challenge, and I don't know if there's ever been an experience that was this challenging but also felt completely fair to the player. If that doesn't encapsulate everything Soulsborne is about, I don't know what does.
Manus, Father of the Abyss. Also broke the limit runner.
With all that said though, there's still one more boss that's harder than all the rest. So with our last two fights being some of not only the best, but hardest fights in gaming, what could possibly make Manus any harder? Imagine if you took a boss with the quick aggression of Artorias, the strength of Smo, and then gave him a full arsenal of devastating dark spells. That's Manus in a nutshell, and damn is it a tough battle. I honestly don't think I spent longer than 3 to 4 seconds without getting attacked. It takes what, at least 2 seconds to use Estus? Yeah, that's how small your windows of opportunity are here. And unless you spent quite some time mastering the fight, I think it will be near impossible to avoid taking damage at some point. That makes you a serious underdog going into this battle. But hey, if you've come this far, I know you've gotten pretty damn good. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed checking out the bosses of Dark Souls with me. If you enjoyed the series so far, be sure to subscribe.
Well, that's just great. We got a lot more bosses to do. A lot more pain coming towards me. And I'm just not looking forward to it. No, I'm not. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and check out Democracy's channel. He does great things with Dark Souls. Check him out. We'll definitely have his channel linked in the description. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and click that subscribe button, hit the bell, like, and leave a comment.